Hey guys, I'm so glad that you guys have joined us and taken some time out of your day to catch up with what's going on at Oak Ridge. And I have joining me, I've got Bryan Lloyd, Pastor Bryan Lloyd, Pastor Tim Hastings, Pastor Gary. You guys give them a wave out. We're going to try to give you some updates today and let you know what's going on around here. The first update is I'm not sure who did this, but someone mailed in $12,000 in cash, and it was just placed in the box. And I would just encourage you not to just send us random cash. And so that's not going to go actually in the offering. That's distributed among these four pastors that are on this call. And so thank you for that money. We really appreciate that. By the way, did you know today's April Fool's Day? Okay, that's all of that stupid part of our updates. Now I'll move on to the real stuff. So in other words, that didn't really happen. Okay, so first thing I want to give you an update is stay-at-home directive. Some folks have had some confusion as to what that actually means for us at Oak Ridge. And what Governor Hogan did is he gave us this new directive of the stay-at-home, but did not change any of the classifications of essential and non-essential businesses and employees. So you can still go to the grocery store, you can still get carry-out food, you can still do all the things that were listed before. So that order only means that he has the legal power to enforce that. And so if somebody's, throwing a keg party in their backyard and inviting folks over, they could be arrested. And so by law now, he's saying, listen, this is the directive. We need to all stay at home. So what does that mean for Oak Ridge? Well, our status doesn't change. We are classified inside the essential business as online operations and an educational content provider. So what it means for us is that we are closed for public services on a Sunday, but our offices are open to essential employee staff and continuing to produce the content like what you're seeing right now. But also remember that Oak Ridge owns the shopping center, so we also have essential personnel that keep our shopping center running and is available for our facilities team and so on and so forth. So I just wanted you to know, some people have asked if essential employees only for the online content, does that mean paid employees? Because I'm not employed, I'm a volunteer. But actually, as you read those directives, it is very clear, and they print out that volunteers are also covered under the clause of essential employees. And so volunteers are a huge part of what we do at Oak Ridge to provide our online content, so they're covered. But as far as the rest of our staff right now, most of our staff are staying at home. So we're keeping up to date. We're using Zoom, probably like a lot of you, especially if you're an educator. I know a lot of my wife is working for the Board of Ed, and so those are having their Zoom calls all the time. And some of you are probably getting some zoomed out. It's just like, man, all I'm on is Zoom calls. But I just wanted you to know we're continuing to work very hard in the background, doing what we do to provide the content that hopefully is helpful to you in your faith and in your journey. And so continue to pray for us. Some of the updates that I wanted to let you know about is that we're starting a brand new online prayer gathering. That'll be every Thursday at 5 p.m. and that's going to be run by our prayer team. And so Jill Dennis and Jim Kitt are going to be hosting that. We would encourage you to tune in and, hey, let us know how we can pray for you, because I'm willing to bet there's a few things that you would like for us to pray for you right now and your family, and especially as we go through this difficult season. So tune in, 5 p.m. Facebook Live. It'll be on our Oak Ridge page, and so you'll be able to participate and be a part of this prayer gathering. Hope you'll join us for that. And then also want to make sure that you're aware that we have made significant changes to the website to better serve you. And so now when you log into the website and you first get that very first screen, you're going to see that front page that'll be kind of what I'm calling the roadmap, and gives you a way to be able to easily navigate everything you need to know to be able to fully engage with Oak Ridge in all of our programs and resources. So there's 3 easy buttons there for you. The How to Engage Online shows you all of the programs, how to worship online and gather online and grow online. And so all of that is there. And so thank you to Zoe Lloyd, who worked so hard, and Tim Dennis to get that out there and put out and available for you to be able to use and help you in your journey. And then also, we're providing new growth content. We talked about how to grow online. And so Pastor Bryan Lloyd has been busy in the studio. Bryan, tell us a little bit about what they can expect to see on Thursdays.
Thanks, Pastor Bryan. Yeah, I'm excited to be able to offer this online while we're doing life this way. So they're going to learn how to grow in their faith with Jesus, how to grow to have spiritual maturity, and the two habits that are going to help you do that. Many of us are already doing that, and some of us, this will be help them, know how to get on that road to spiritual maturity. And I think it's so important at times like this that we grow in our faith. There's a tendency to put that on pause because I'm dealing with life on life's terms. But we just hope that these short segments on Thursday, they're going to be 12 to 13, 15 minutes or so in length. So they're going to be real easy for people to watch. And I think they're really going to help people grow in their faith or even renew their faith, and re-energize their faith through this time.
So I really appreciate you making that available. Now, this is something we already had on the schedule to roll out into our online learning management platform. We provide that at grow.orbc.net. But this will be live, and so you can take it as it's actually happening, and we'll be offering that, and then that will get rolled into that online platform and be available from now on. Just like First Base is already available online, we'll be integrating the Second Base. So I hope you'll take advantage of that and use this season to maybe grow your faith. Also, a very exciting announcement Pastor Bryan Lloyd has also helped me put together. We're introducing a new weekly online podcast interview program. Well, that's a lot to say. So how about this? Why don't you name that podcast? I've got a name that I think it should be. Pastor Bryan Lloyd's got a name he thinks it should be. Why don't you tell us what you think the name of this new podcast? Now, the reason I'm excited is we have some really great community leaders that we're going to be bringing in, talk to them about how this is affecting their life and what's going on in their world. So, Bryan, tell us a little bit about what they should expect on this program.
Yeah, we're real excited about this because our heart is to stay, connected with our community and its leaders, and so that we know how we can help them, but also so that all of our viewers know what's going on with these organizations, and so we're going to have these guys on the podcast, and we're going to ask questions like, hey, how has COVID-19 affected your organization? How has it affected you personally? What should people know about your organization? What services are still available? And then most importantly, we're going to ask them how the faith-based community can be helping and serving and praying for them.
So this is a great opportunity for us to not only get to know what's going on with some of these guys, but also what can the church do? How can we be mobilized to bring peace into our community? So I'm excited about that. Another thing is to let you know what's coming up in our offerings for worship services coming up for the next several weeks. As you know, we had previously planned for Peace One Day, and then that would be followed by Easter, and we were going to have a Good Friday service. So what do we do now? Well, as I was praying through that, I really felt this sense of moving our people in three stages, from Gethsemane to Golgotha to the empty grave. And so in those three steps, we're going to do all of that online. So this Sunday, Palm Sunday, I'm going to be sharing a message that is entitled The Prayer That Changes Everything. And I know if you're like me, you probably have a sense of, man, I really want to see God move and work in my life like never before. And I think people are praying right now like never before. You're praying for safety. You're praying for your job. You're praying for your finances. You're praying for your family. You're praying for this crisis. And so what kinds of prayers really move heaven to shake this earth? And actually, as we look at the prayer that Jesus offered in Gethsemane, we're going to find the three keys that move heaven on earth. And so I want to make sure you're a part of that this Sunday. So invite folks that need to hear a powerful message of how God can enter into the midst of our suffering right now. And then we're going to move our Good Friday service, and we're going to have a devotional service that's all home-based. I'm excited about this. because the entire service is going to be out of homes. And so I'll be sharing a short devotional thought. We'll have different worship artists that are our normal leaders, worship leaders, will be sharing in their homes segments of songs. And then finally, Pastor Bryan Lloyd is going to lead us in our first home-based online communion. I think that's going to be cool. And I want you to tune into this. I want you to consider this as though you came in to a live gathering, and not just make this something you just say, oh, I'll just catch that later. I'm hoping you'll make this a priority as we begin to celebrate Holy Week and reflect on the powerful substitutionary sacrifice that Jesus Christ gave on the cross for us. And so I'll be sharing a message, devotional message, 7 cries from the cross. The 7 things Jesus said on the cross and why that matters to me. Make sure that you're a part of that. All you need is some bread and you need some juice or whatever it is that you use. All right. So be a part of that. Gather your family together and make that a special time together. And then we are celebrating Easter online. Actually, it's interesting to me that when God first stirred my heart on what to preach on Easter, this was, I don't know, a couple of months ago, I just kept hearing these 2 words ring in my head: hope wins. Hope wins. And I can't think of a more appropriate message for Easter this year than to remind everyone that no matter how dark, no matter how dreary, no matter how gloomy, no matter how bad it looks, hope wins. And that's what Resurrection Sunday is all about. And so I hope that you will be inviting some folks for our Easter online services. I believe it's going to be one of our greatest Easters ever. We're not bound up by space in the parking lot. We're not bound up by space in any of the venues. We are opening our doors literally to the whole world. I think God's going to use that in a great way, and so I'm looking forward to those services. Also want to remind you that family ministries are online and fully going and functional. The cabin service is being uploaded every Monday for you to run a cabin at home with your kids. Now, I know some of you said, well, COVID-19 hasn't sheltered me. I'm an essential employee in an essential business, and I'm running myself ragged. I can't catch that thing on Monday. Well, one of the reasons we're providing it on the Oak Ridge Facebook Kids group is so that when you do have that moment, you'll be able to use that material for that service with your kids. I think it's so important that the kids continue to receive their weekly time of focus on God's Word and learning what God has to say to them in this season. I think it's very, very important. I know what I've seen in my grandchildren. They're asking questions, they're feeling anxious, and they're open to hearing God's answers. So please, please make an effort to spend some time with your kids, not just letting them binge on Netflix and YouTube Kids and all that stuff. Take a moment and do a cabin time and a cabin service with the kids and address those questions of their worry and their fear and their anxiety. And then Pastor Gary is still continuing with the students. Tell me a little bit how that's going with your Instagram theme.
Yeah, so I put my second live Instagram post up yesterday. Last week we talked about who is the Holy Spirit, and my live chat was about that, and I directed people to follow along in a reading plan on the Bible app. This week we are talking about what is prayer and how do I do that? Like, if God already knows everything, why do I even need to talk with him? And that's the question I challenged them to think about this week. This week we're doing something a little bit different. I've selected 2 different week-long reading plans, one for the middle school age group and one for the high school age group. And so I'm excited about both of these plans, and I hope that you will help your student get connected with them. The way you get them connected with me through the Bible app is just go into the Bible app, find friends, type in Gary McCabe, and look for a picture of this ugly mug along with the cutest puppy you've ever seen. And as soon as you see that picture, you just send a friend request. As soon as I get that, I will invite you to both of those reading plans, and you can choose to be a part of one or both of them. It'll be pretty obvious which is which based on the title. So if you have a middle schooler, pick the middle school one. There'll be a video included with that, so we'll take a little bit more time to do. The high school one is going to be a great devotional written by a very respected theologian that I am impressed with. And then we'll be able to connect and chat throughout the week on how that Bible reading is going. So we're going to be talking all about prayer, and so you can reinforce those conversations with your students. I also want to challenge you guys, get your student to watch the messages throughout this Holy Week with you. From everything that Pastor Bryan and the adults are doing, we would be reproducing that and connecting with that in the Ridge. If we were meeting live, we'd be streaming that video in, or I would be delivering that same exact message. And so it's very important. Make this something that you do with your student, because it's powerful, powerful stuff.
Good stuff. Hey, everything you need to know for your students is on the Facebook group, Oak Ridge Student Ministries. Make sure that you're a part of that, and that you're tuned in so you know what's happening. Also, Cheryl has been hard at work gathering preschool activities and things that you can do with your preschooler. She's posting daily activities that relate to them, some music videos that they can do. I think even Marty let out some sing-along time. So be sure you're a part of that with your preschoolers. I think they'll love that. And then I think starting next week, we're going to be introducing reading time, story time with Miss Lisa. She's going to read some stories for those preschoolers. And so make sure you're keeping your preschoolers engaged as well. Look for everything again on the those two Facebook groups, Oak Ridge Kids, Oak Ridge Student Ministries. And then care callers. Gary neglected to share with you last week, shame, that we actually, as soon as we went through this crisis, we quickly gathered together a list of at-risk vulnerable members and said, hey, who would be willing to make sure that they're getting called upon to make sure they everything's okay, that they have their needs being met. And so, Gary, tell us a little bit about the care callers, how that's going.
Yeah, so this has been a really, really cool thing and a blessing to be able to watch. We had about 90 people in our church that we would categorize in the more at-risk area. I put out a form, and 9 people said, I'll do that. I'll reach out to these people once a week. And so we gave 10 people to each of those, and they've been faithfully calling and checking in on those church members. Members of our community here who are particularly at risk. Oh, it's so cool to hear the stories. They said that they called two different families and got the same exact response, because the husband answered the phone and immediately called over his shoulder, honey, Oak Ridge is calling me. Do we need anything? And then they said, well, she says we don't need anything. And I mean, it was the exact conversations across both of those families. So super fun stuff. The care callers have been blessed to be able to do that. I keep hearing from them over and over again how amazing it is to get to hear the prayer requests from these people, and the joy that they're getting out of that. And so they're there. They want to be a part of helping people. If you know someone in our church who needs to be added to that list, one, you can take care of them yourself. Don't feel like we're saying you shouldn't do that just because I have people who are here. If you want to be a care caller, as more people come in, I'd be happy to help you be able to do that. Or you can pass their name along to me, and we'll get those connected up with a care caller there. But this has been a really, really cool thing that we've got going on.
Amen. So please let us know if you want to add somebody to that list, or if you want to be one of the care callers, because certainly the longer that this goes on, we want to make sure that we're caring for those folks who don't have an immediate access to having their needs met. We want to make sure that we're doing that. And then also we want to make sure our members know that we love them and how we can pray for them and stuff. So if you want to be a part of that, contact Pastor Gary, and you can certainly jump in on board on that. Small groups is still going on, Pastor Tim. This is my beautiful small group, but I think a lot of groups are meeting. Any updates you want to share with our small groups community?
No, I'm going to touch base with the leaders this week. I just really want to encourage groups to continue with their weekly schedule of meeting, but just meet virtually, use Zoom or use Facebook Video Messenger, somehow where they can still relationally stay in contact with one another. I read an article the other day, and it said one of the primary things that you want to do in a season like this where everyone's kind of homebound is the importance of your connections. And small groups are just naturally that first point for a lot of people. We literally have hundreds and hundreds of people at Oak Ridge in small groups. So even though we're homebound, it doesn't mean that group life stops. I would still encourage people to catch up with each other. What's been going on? Our group did this just this past Monday. We talked about life. We actually talked about some of the stuff we've been watching on Netflix, which was kind of a chuckle when everyone was like, oh my gosh, I'll watch that too. And then we spent some time with prayer requests. And that's the second piece. We want you to catch up and then lift up. So I would just encourage groups to still continue to have a piece of that in their weekly schedule. I'm going to be sending out a thing to all group leaders this week on how you can even do some icebreakers through video. So just a lot of resources to try to get groups to stay connected.
Good. And we would still let folks know everything you need to know about hosting your group online and continuing to do that is on ORBC.net. Just go to that how to engage, and under there is a small groups online, and it'll give you all the instructions you need to be able to make sure that your group is continuing to meet, catching up and lifting up. And then also we sent out a weekly assessment that we used as a third party with a cooperative partnership between Barna Group and Glue, and sent out an assessment that looks at 5 levels of human flourishing. And we wanted to see, how are you doing? Since we can't gather on a Sunday and meet you in the lobby and say, man, how's it going? We did this in this assessment. Now, the good news is some of you filled this out. The bad news is we sent out a text blast that in the text gave you instructions on doing that. That was hyper confusing. You had to have, you know, a nuclear physics degree to figure out how to actually respond to that. So I just want to apologize that we made that so difficult. We will be sending out another assessment, and we'll send you a new text, but I promise you, we're going to just send you a simple link that in the text you click one thing and you're there. So we're not going to confuse you again. Thank you to those that filled that out. We want to keep a pulse on what the greatest needs and concerns and issues are, so that we can continue to adjust our programming to be ministering to our families the very best way we can. So we want to know how you're doing. So do us a favor when we send that out next time. Fill that out. Let us know. It only takes 5 minutes. I promise you. It's not a 100-hour survey. It only takes 5 minutes to fill this out. It's very quick, very simple. And so let us know how you're doing, and we'll send you a new link for that coming up very soon. And then Recovery is also beginning to figure out their rhythm, since it's a unique ministry of the church, and the way that we do things in recovery, protecting anonymity in so many of those areas. We wanted to slow down and figure out what's the best way to approach this. So give us some updates about how recovery is being offered online, Pastor Bryan.
Yeah, we are making some really good strides on that, and our plan is to have online small groups this Friday for adults and Celebrate Recovery and students. And the easiest way to be part of that is to go to the website at orbc.net and select the Recovery tab, and then you can fill out a quick form that just says, hey, do you want to be part of our groups? When you fill that out, and then one of our leaders from Recovery will be contacting with you and talk to you more about getting involved with those groups. So we're real excited about that. And again, just another reminder, when you go to the website, you'll also see that we've put several links there for celebraterecovery.com and for their Facebook and Instagram, because they're putting out a lot of really good content daily for those that are struggling with hurts, habits, and hangups. They don't go away when we're at home. And so those are both really good resources. I've been following them, and they're putting out some really good content that's very helpful for those of us that are in recovery. So I would encourage you to go to the website, and that way you can get connected with all of those resources.
Let me go ahead and bring that up and make sure that we're giving them good navigation so they know where that is. Do you see the website on screen now?
Yeah.
So where would they go on the main website?
So if you engage online,
okay,
and then when you scroll down, there you go, select, and then as you see the recovery, you'll see we have several ways to help adults and students in recovery, even though we can't meet in person. Contact us here. When they select that link, they'll be able to fill out a real quick form that lets us know how to contact them, and then that way we can get them involved with those groups.
Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, and right below that was the other links for celebraterecovery.com. Really want to encourage everybody to go to that. They're really doing a great job of that. So.
Okay, that's fantastic. Well, that's almost everything that we have. The last thing to just let you know is that we are moving forward on the Build the Dream. Mark and his team with the building team submitted our plans, and believe it or not, we were able to get that into the city. And actually, with this particular environment in the crisis, this may actually help us because there's less focus, and I think that will get things moving. And so some of you may say, well, man, is this a good time to think about building a building? Let me just tell you two things. When we come out of this season, and we will come out of this season. Did you hear what I just said? We will come out of this season. When we do, here's what I know. People are going to be hungry for two things: faith and fellowship. They're going to be hungry spiritually, and they're going to be hungry socially. They're going to want to go to church. So we're expecting a huge boom that's going to happen when we get on the other side of this. So we want to continue to move forward in our plans of being ready for all the people that God is going to bring us so that we can begin to share the gospel with people who are desperate and hungry and need some hope and healing in their lives. So that's why we're moving forward on that. We'll continue to do that. Thank you guys for being a part of this today. Thank you, pastors, for helping me. Let us know how we can help you. If you have questions, please feel free to contact us. Send us a message. You can type a comment. Just let us know how we can best serve you. And remember, we love you guys, and can't wait to see you again. God bless, guys.